never thought I'd find myself sitting here, quiet as a shadow, thinking about the day everything fell apart. But I suppose betrayal has a way of carving itself into your soul, even if you don't see it coming at first. I built a life that looked perfect from the outside. Successful career, a loving husband who made me feel like I was the only woman left in the world, close friends I trusted with my secrets, my pride, my very self. I was proud of what I'd achieved, proud of the woman I'd become, and I believed in the goodness of those around me. But betrayal, when it comes, wears 1,000 faces, and mine wore the guise of someone I thought was my best friend. She was the kind of woman who seemed to understand me, who shared my dreams and laughter, whom I confided in like a sister. We had plans, hopes for the future, quiet talks over coffee that felt safe and honest. Until that night, when I saw her standing there, her face lit by a cruel smile, holding my husband's hand as if she owned him, as if I never mattered. I remember the cold rush that swept through me, the hollow ache in my chest as she whispered words that cut deeper than any knife. Words about how she'd always loved him, how she'd waited years for her turn, and how she'd finally taken what was hers. I watched her run off with him, her laughter ringing in my ears, and in that moment, I understood that my entire life had been a fragile house of cards, built on trust that was never meant to be broken. I cried that night. I won't deny it. But beneath the tears, a slow fire began to burn. That fire grew as I saw how quickly everything I'd worked for was turned to ash. My reputation dragged through the mud, my name whispered with contempt, my friends turning away as if I'd become some kind of monster. I was humiliated in front of everyone I knew, a perfect woman reduced to a cautionary tale of betrayal. It was then I realized I had two choices: let the shame swallow me, or use it to fuel my resolve. And so I began to plot, quietly, carefully, like a spider spinning her web in the dark. I whispered half-truths to those I knew she relied on, planted seeds of doubt in her alliances, exploited her weaknesses with a patience that only years of pain can teach. I watched her stumble, watched her allies turn cold, while I remained silent, unseen. Every glance, every word I let slip was part of my plan, building toward that moment when I would strike, when the truth would burst forth, then leave her trembling in the ruins of her own making. The night came when I knew the time had finally arrived. I arranged a quiet gathering, a place where she thought she was safe, where her lies would be exposed not by me directly, but by the very web she'd helped weave. I saw her face drain of color as the evidence I'd collected was laid bare. The truth of her betrayal, her manipulation, her greed, all of it unraveled in front of everyone she cared about. Her facade shattered, her reputation in tatters, while I watched from the shadows, knowing I had finally reclaimed what was mine, my dignity, my peace. She scrambled to save what she could, but it was too late. The damage was done. And I stayed silent, my heart heavy, but my resolve unbroken, knowing I had done what I needed to do. I could have gone after her, exposed her in a way that would leave her broken for good, but I chose a different path. I chose to disappear, to leave behind the life I once knew. The fame, the friends, the false happiness. I sold my house, gave up my career, and moved far away, seeking a new place where no one knew my story. I started over, not as the woman who had everything, but as someone reborn from the ashes of betrayal. Now, I watch from afar as her world crumbles, as her reputation is poisoned by the lies she told herself. I see her trying to cling to the illusion of control, while I know the truth, that her downfall was crafted with my quiet hands and my unyielding patience. I often wonder if she ever feels the cold weight of what she did, if she ever looks in the mirror and sees the ghost of the woman she betrayed. But I also wonder if I've lost something in the process, a piece of myself that I can never get back, the innocence that was shattered the night she tore my life apart. Revenge, I've learned, is a bitter pill that leaves a scar no healing cream can erase. I thought I wanted her to suffer, to feel the pain I carried for years, but now I see it's more than that. It's about reclaiming my voice, my dignity, my power, even if it means sacrificing the person I was. Sometimes I think about the woman I used to be, soft, trusting, naive, and I realize she's gone, replaced by someone who learned to be careful, who learned to hide her true strength behind a gentle smile. I've carried the secret of my revenge for so long, hiding it like a treasure in my chest, but now I share it because I want others to know that even in the face of betrayal, you can find a way to rise, to reclaim what's stolen. Even if I don't regret what I've done, because I know that sometimes the only way to truly heal is to take back what's yours, even if it's in a way that leaves you forever changed. And yet, as I sit here, in this quiet house far from the chaos, I realize that revenge is a double-edged sword. It gives you strength, but it also takes something precious from your soul. Maybe I've won, but I've also lost a part of myself that I'll never get back. Still, I stand by it. Because sometimes the only way to silence the voice of betrayal is to make sure it can never hurt you again. So if you're listening, remember this. No matter how deep the wound, no matter how betrayed you feel, there's always a way to turn the pain into power. Like, share, and subscribe if you want to hear more stories of quiet strength turned fierce.